Hello Mom and Dad Meet World viewers. So we are actually reviewing the Surface Laptop 4 today. This is unlike one we've done before, and probably unlike other reviews you've seen, because we're not going to get into benchmarks. We're just going to get into pretty much real world, real life usage of this particular laptop. This is the 13.5-inch version of the Surface 4 laptop. It's got the 8 gigs of memory, 11th gen Core i5, and 512 gigabytes of storage. I will have the links and maybe a little bit of graphics as to what this version entails and the specifications for it. But bottom line up front is, can it do what you need it to do for a regular Windows computer to get onto the internet, use programs like Microsoft Office, and just pretty much stay productive? The long and short of that is absolutely yes. So yeah, for loading up Office 365, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all that productivity stuff, yeah, this computer is absolutely just fine for that. Getting on the internet, getting on different websites, paying your bills, checking all that stuff, yeah, it'll get you through that without issue. So what does separate this computer from all the other Windows computers? It's build quality. This computer is actually made out of metal. It is I believe their sandstone color, and it's a very pretty laptop, pretty lightweight. As you can see, it's pretty thin, and it reminds me of the MacBook Air as a comparison, because of this wedge, or at least the old MacBook Air design with the wedge shape. So another thing to add about the build quality is it does have a nice trackpad, although it is a tad bit smaller than what you would find on a MacBook Pro, about the size of a MacBook Air again. Backlit keyboard, and again, it's very pleasant to type on, very pleasant to use the trackpad. There is a physical button here. It's not a force touch trackpad where you can press the button pretty much all over the trackpad itself like you can on a MacBook, but again, it is very nice for the PC equivalent. It says, it claims it has up to 17 hours of battery life. Is that true? No. It can get you through a workday, but you will definitely need to charge it each and every single day. When compared to something like a MacBook Air, the Air will have better battery life in real world usage. Microsoft claims 17.5 hours of battery life usage, but in real world I managed to squeak out around 7.5 to 8 hours. That's a little bit of email, very little bit of email, web browsing, and a little bit of screen save time with brightness kind of on the low side. Anything other than responding and checking email and web browsing would probably yield lesser battery life, along with probably, and I do mean most likely, turning up the brightness even more than a very low brightness setting. Again, if you need a Windows computer just to stay productive, this will absolutely do the trick. And why did I get this computer? Well, I actually got it for a pretty darn good deal. Got this for about $400 at the local Best Buy, and that is including taxes, fees, and all that drive time to get there. When factoring that cost in, this was originally around a $1,200 or so laptop, again meaning to compete with the MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro 13, and it's kind of expensive for that price. Would I absolutely get that? Probably not. I'd probably stick with a virtual machine, but as far as a secondary work computer, yeah, absolutely. So what do I do the most on here? To be very truthful with you, I keep up on the updates. I have a primary work computer. This is pretty much a secondary work computer for when I don't have access, or for some reason a system goes down and I need to get in on the Windows side. I use this. My daily driver is a Mac, whether it be a Mac Studio or a MacBook Pro. That is my daily driver. But for $400 and the great build quality, it's hard to pass this up. So I might have spoken too soon, but this is only my opinion and my experience with this particular computer. There have been times after I had charged it to 100%, I had taken it off the charge and let it run, do its thing, shut it down, and I still had probably about 90 something percent of battery life left. And when I had turned the computer back on, the computer was showing the battery charge symbol yet again. And after a few times of doing this, I ended up taking the computer back. So while this computer might have very darn good build quality resembling that of a MacBook Air, it ultimately went back to Best Buy. So there you have it. That was my personal review of the Microsoft Surface 4 laptop. So if I had never ever used an M1 based MacBook Pro or MacBook Air, then these computers would be pretty much top-notch. And even though they are completely different operating systems, where one is Windows, one is Mac OS, there is still such a big difference here, not only in price and performance. When I mean by price, I mean they are the same price when you find them retail. Performance, as in you really cannot tell a difference. Both are smooth, both run very well, but the battery life is pretty much outstanding. And I do believe that there's a video I will link here also to Linus Tech Tips, where he does explain the issue between Windows and Microsoft still does have a problem with their sleep and with their battery setting, causing it to die whenever you need it. So that's it. Have a great one. Thank you for watching.